Test.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Guam Election Commission to order. It is Thursday, August 1st at 6:04 p.m. We are located here at the Election Return Center at the University of Guam Cabo Fieldhouse in Manila, Guam. We're also live streamed on the GEC website at gec.guam.gov/board. A quorum is present. Present is myself, Jerry Crisostomo, Chairman, Commissioner Joe Mafnas, Vice Chair, Commissioner Ricky Orsini, Commissioner Joe Meno, Commissioner Benny Panaula, Commissioner Antonio Gamatauta. Also present is our legal counsel, Vince Camacho, and our executive director, Maria Pangilinan. Commissioner Pat Seville is on his way. Certification of public notice requirements. The notice were placed on the Guam Daily Post and the Guam Public Notice website on July 25th and July 29th. And copies are on page 2 of your packet. Approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting? Okay, moved by Commissioner Benny Penala to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Orsini. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, the ayes have it. Approval of minutes of our July 25th regular meeting.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, may I ask that that be tabled?
You need a motion for that, or just?
Yes, we do.
So I entertain a motion to table the approval of minutes of July 25th regular meeting. Moved by Commissioner Gamatauta, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Joe Meno. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Moving to item 5, correspondence.
Sorry. We received correspondence from about an independent presidential election candidate, and a response was sent to them, sir. On page
6.
7
7.
is the response.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Okay, item B.
Mr. Chair, Judge Elise Iriarte will be on the general election ballot based on her letter on page 8.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, moving on to item 6, Executive Director's Report. Maria?
Mr. Chair, for the general election, our candidate packet deadline is August 7th for for CCU, Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and the Guam Board of Education. Those who have filed are listed on page 9.
Okay, any questions? Okay,
Mr. Chair, so we have the report on absentee ballots on page 10. Today, yesterday was the last day to file to request for absentee ballots for off-island. As you know, Monday was the last day for early voting, and homebound voting is ongoing. Our report is on page 10.
Okay. Did we cover early voting, the first item?
Sorry. So early voting, we closed on July 29th, this past Monday, and we have a total of, in the end, after reconciliation and looking at all the ballots and the application for in-office voting, the final total for early voting is 3,450.
That's still about 5% of the,
Okay.
of the total registered voters, right? Were there any problems, concerns that arose out of that 2 weeks of the early voting?
I think there were some, there were some about being transferred to another village, but when we showed them what they did, it was okay. I don't think we had any. The the line wasn't so bad even on the last day. I had gone to the doctor on Monday and went to line up on accessible voting right away. And it only took me 25 minutes to get out of the accessible voting line. So it was pretty good, I think. There were no complaints about and there were no long waits actually.
I'm not sure if any of the commissioners receive any issues or complaints. Yes, Commissioner Racine.
I did receive, maybe not a complaint, but just they wanted to let me know, right, this voter, because they knew I was a commissioner. This person tried to first vote on the machine and I guess had trouble pressing the buttons. They weren't going through. So then this person requested to do the paper ballot.
Commissioner Ricky, do you know if it was before or after our staff chose the right precinct for him or her? Was it before or after our staff chose the right precinct for her?
I mean, it
I'm
was
not
probably
sure.
not when she was
Yeah.
pressing you see the machine
Yeah.
first.
It
she
seemed
couldn't
like
get the machine.
she had trouble with a
Yeah,
button or a letter or something.
and it could be maybe the precinct was not the precinct or.
Okay. Yeah. Did she tell you about whether it was a write-in?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, so but did you do a write-in? It may have been that it wasn't reading her touch, but I believe, I think it was one of our staff that helped her, but I think what happened was she asked for a paper ballot after. She didn't want to deal with it anymore. But it could have been that she wasn't just pressing the right, or she wasn't pressing hard enough on the letters, on the key.
Yeah, I voted using the machine, and it just seems like a touch. I don't know if any of you did, but Um, yeah, the writing might have been the challenge.
As far as we know, I think it was about 40% voted on of all the early of the 3450 voters. About 40% voted on the e-ballot, and that's the first time we've heard anything.
Okay.
Just to echo Maria about the early voting on the last day, I was up there practically up until 5 o'clock, and she's right about quite a few that wants to use the machine is a lot faster. The line was pretty long, but it went out smoothly though. I mean, there was no hold up, so
How
still a
many,
low turnout.
how many machines did we have for that day? That week, 2 weeks?
But
Oh, 8 machines.
Yes.
8 machines.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Just a real quick acknowledgement. You know, the staff at GEC during the special election when I was there, they did a great job. They were very helpful. They were following the procedures, and it was good to see that they were, doing what they needed to do. And again, I want to commend the staff at the Guam Election Commission for a good job.
Yep. Yeah, well done. Okay, moving on, Maria. Precinct officials?
As usual, we have precinct officials, since the publication, have resigned, but we've taken care of filling them up. They're still, all the positions are still filled based on the alternates that have been trained. So we're good for precinct officials for Saturday. We don't know about tomorrow and Saturday, but we're as far as we're concerned, at this is the first time I think we're this good with the precinct officials.
I know
With the
that
numbers.
you published the names today in the posts. Yeah. Okay. Okay, polling sites.
So the polling sites have all been visited. There was we got a call from DOE, but with that said, the first day of school is August 8th. So I don't know, even if they don't, without the passage of the law, I think we're still good with going in on August 3rd, because our legal counsel talked with DOE legal counsel and said we're good for August 3rd.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay, moving on to the test selection for this primary election.
Sir, before we go on to the test election, would the commission want to discuss the tabulation of the write-in votes after you've looked at what we've presented to you at the last meeting? Our legal counsel and some of our staff met with Michael Dvorak, our election systems and elections software and system support, and so we've had a long discussion with what we can do. So
Okay. Yeah, let's tackle that first then. The write-ins.
So we met yesterday to try to figure out what's the most efficient way to sort of review the write-ins. So what happens is, as the machine gets tabulated, there's snapshots of every single ballot that goes through there, and every oval that is colored in that has a write-in, there's a snapshot of what that write-in name would be. And so step one, as it gets tabulated, any ballot with a write-in will be separated from all the other ballots. And that is so that we can protect the integrity of if we have to open it after 30 days and review the write-ins, we know which batch is the write-ins. So once that happens, the report will come out and identify and sort of what we showed you last time. It's an Excel spreadsheet that comes out with the actual picture of the write-ins. So what we propose is for the commission staff and the attorneys to review that report, actually not review it, but compile that report. Then we would set up a meeting with all of the commissioners to review each and every single write-in and assign and determine who that person is and how that vote is going to be counted, right? So when that happens, it'll be similar to something like this setup. There'll be a big screen TV where all of you guys will be able to actually see and determine what the intent of the voter is or who they intended to vote for on the write-in. Once you guys determine that, we would tag that name. And once we tag that name, after we review all the write-ins, we can compile a report and it'll tell us all the votes for that name and all the votes for every name that comes in. So that's what we propose, because we have to figure out a date when all of you guys can come together and review the signatures. The staffer is not going to determine who's getting a vote. It'll be really the commissioners. Once you determine who the appropriate writing candidate is. The problem is if you have J. Cruz, then you have Juan Cruz, and you have Jane Cruz, and then you have JP Cruz. All of those are separate and distinct names, right? And the commission, the staff and the attorneys can't figure out who that's going to go to. So you're going to see all those variations, and that's when you guys are going to have to make that determination as to how we tag it. So does it tag for John Cruz? And then everything that's a derivative of that gets the vote, but that's for the commission to decide.
So is the derivative based on advance notification from a write-in effort?
Not that we know of, because the commission has not received any
Right.
advance notice for any potential write-in.
So if there's a J. Cruz and a Juan Cruz, how would we determine that that's for Juan Cruz?
And that's where, you're probably going to not be able to say that's the same person, right?
It'd have to be separate votes for
It would
each
have
of
to be,
those.
right.
Okay. Yeah, and then I had another, just a question. So I know that a candidate can't run for, in the same election, run for two offices.
Absolutely not.
What about a write-in? So if they were running for on the ballot for an office, and at the same effort, there's a write-in for that same candidate for another office, not the same office he's running, to qualify to get enough votes to get into the general election ballot. Is that considered a candidate that's running for two offices?
Yes. And the write-in votes will be considered invalid.
Because of an overvote? Because of the name?
It's not because
appearing
of it's
twice,
an overvote. No person, according to Guam law, can run for more than one office on the same election day, right? So what would have to happen is there would have to be a write-in effort on the general side. But if you're on the ballot and a candidate in one office in the primary, you can't also be a write-in candidate for another office in the same election on the same day.
yeah, so-
And if that happens, Vince, what happens to the ballot?
Nothing. So the vote for the office that they're running for will count.
Okay.
The write-in won't count.
Won't count. Oh,
Yeah.
the write-in. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not going to invalidate the ballot. It's just going to invalidate the write-in for that person, because you can't vote for the same person in a same election for a different office.
Yeah, follow-up question on that. So let's assume that the person is running for one office. However, he or she didn't know that he's being put in on the write-in.
Yeah.
So the write-in is going to be voided? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, so when you guys review that and we see that on the screen, that a candidate who's running for another office, we have to mark that vote as invalid.
Even though the
write-in vote.
candidate doesn't know that he's being.
Yeah, because it's not a candidate issue, it's just the vote. No one's in trouble for anything, it's just that the vote won't count because that person is already on the ballot for another office. So, for instance, in some of the write-in, you have scribbles, and there's no way to decipher who they intended. That there's no real name that you can. It's not legible, I should say. So we can't assign that vote to anyone, right? So then we would just invalidate that vote, so it doesn't come up on the. And then at the end, you're going to have the vote totals of all the write-ins, and you're going to have a vote total for invalid votes. Yeah. So all the votes will be accounted for.
I have another question. I don't know how far back this, but I remember when, was it Tony Mpinku or Senator Tanaka that lost the office that they're running for, and then they were put in the write-in, and then it went ahead and was put in a general election. I think it was for the senatorial race. I know I remember that. I can't figure whether it's Tony or Tommy Tanaka. Yeah, that he lost the gubernatorial, but then they write him in for senatorial, and then he won that seat.
Well, he can win it in the general, and he can run in the general as a write-in, but he can't win. You can't win to. So let's just say he makes it into. He wins the. Whatever race they're going for that he's officially a candidate for. And then he makes it in for the race in that he's a write-in for. He can't be on the ballot on the general for both because he made it for both, right? So if he wins in the official candidates for that public office, he cannot, and he wins in the write-in, are you saying that he should be on both in the general?
No. What I'm trying to say here, he lost on the primary, okay? But then, actually, what happened there is that they put his name in. I mean, somebody write his name in anyway. So anyway, he got enough vote to go to the general election.
He met the minimum 4%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened back then, but the law is very clear now.
No, but yeah, I understand that, but I was just throwing that out because I
Yeah.
specifically remember that.
This was the 1994 Republican primary.
Yeah.
Tommy Tanaka lost in the gubernatorial primary election, but people wrote him in for senator in that primary, that he was also a gubernatorial candidate,
Yeah.
and then he was able to make it on the ballot for the general.
Yeah, the Guam law is very clear. You can't do that now.
So back then it was different law, right?
I wasn't here.
I'm just pointing it out because,
Yeah.
I mean, food for thought, I remember that
Yeah.
specifically.
But yeah, the law is very specific, and it says you cannot even run for another office on the same day for the same election. So it's fairly clear.
He's not running.
No, but as a write-in candidate, he can't be voted in another office on the same election.
So it was a senatorial election. He lost the gubernatorial primary, was written in for a legislative, and met the minimum to get his name placed on the general election ballot.
Yeah, we can see when that law was changed,
Yeah.
but the law is very clear now.
Yeah, because I remember, I mean, in the last.
And maybe that's why
gubernatorial-
it was changed. I don't know, but it was changed.
Okay.
So, Vince, is this the same if somebody writes in a candidate for senator and that's the only race the voter votes for this person? Is that invalid?
No, well, the vote's not okay, the vote's not invalid. It's the candidate that would be invalid if that candidate is on the ballot for another office
Whether that voter voted for that candidate or
or
not,
not.
in that race.
Yeah. It's because they're on the ballot for another office that makes them ineligible to qualify for another office in the same election that's being conducted on that day.
Vince, I know maybe, but can you do a research and take a
Yeah,
look
I
at
mean,
when that-
I know what the law says
Yeah.
today. I just need to find out when it was changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because we may face that situation, I think, and maybe we have to count those write-ins. We just
No, I
wanna
mean,
be
we can count
clarifying.
every write-in. It's whether they're eligible to
Yeah.
move on in
Right.
that office because they were running in another office
Right.
and were on the election ballot on the same ballot for the same election on the same day.
Okay. Okay, any other issues on the write-in that we need to address?
No, so that's, if the commission's amenable, that would be the process. That I think we said August 6th, because Mike from ESNS will be here
Sure.
and be available if there's any issues that we can address. And so it would be August 6th that we would schedule to have the sit down and review all the write-ins.
Okay, Maria?
Mr. Chair, we really don't know how long it's going to take, but we know that on August 16th, that's the last day for us to count the provisional ballots. And we can count, that's when we normally count also the absentee ballots. So we have until, so it's up to the commission now. We need you to look at the list, at the Excel spreadsheet, that what legal and our staff come up with, and decide about, who gets what vote and whether votes are okay for all these, or the few or the plenty write-in votes.
To be tabulated, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the parameter of the timing.
Mr. Chair, did we vote on what option we're looking at? Whether we're going to review it as a body, or we would have the GEC staff do the compilation of the list? I remember in our last meeting, I don't think we voted on what option.
So what we wanted to do was have the GEC staff compile the list and present it to you. But the GEC staff first would go through the list and identify the write-ins and then provide the list to you. And then for those that the staff cannot determine, the commission will determine. So if there's Peter Cruz, they can mark that all those Peter Cruz will be Peter Cruz. But if there's a P Cruz or Peter C or other variations, that's when the commission needs to come in and say, we would give that to these individuals. But yeah, they would go ahead first and compile the ones that are pretty clear in terms of, or have the same name, both first and last name, or something that's identifiable, and then compile that and group those, and then all the other variations, they will leave that up to the commission to determine.
So the staff will.
Would this be done before
The 6th?
August 6th?
We start August 6th.
Oh, we start August 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
So we will review the list on August.
Once the staff is done. That's why Maria was saying she's not sure how long it would take, just depending upon how many write-ins there are. I mean, if there's not many, then it shouldn't take too long. But
Right.
If there's an enormous amount, then that may take a little bit.
So in the past, we've done where we review write-ins that we have to publish on our website. It's taken sometimes 3 days to 1 week to review all those write-ins. And that's when we didn't have write-in campaigns like we do today.
Yeah, the efforts. How would we determine, you mentioned Peter Cruz, or whatever names. How would because this is written in by the voter, how would we determine who is this candidate? And all Peter Cruz would come up to the commission and say, I'm the Peter Cruz, and I'm the Peter Cruz. How would we know that that's the Peter Cruz that the voters' intent is to vote for? Or any name, actually, because we don't have any information on these candidates. Mickey Mouse. How is Mickey Mouse going to come to us and tell us he's Mickey Mouse and should be eligible and he received 800 votes and he wants to be placed on the general election ballot? You know, what is the process after we identify the candidates and they say they met a minimum, the minimum number? How would we determine who that candidate is to be placed on the ballot?
You know,
the
despite
general.
the number of people you run into who, out of frustration or whatever, say, I'm just voting for Mickey Mouse, Mickey's never done well enough that it never gotten enough enough votes where it had to be brought to our attention. So, and actually, I'd forgotten all about Tommy Tanaka, but it's rare. I can't think of the last time we had a write-in who had enough votes where it really even came up to our attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last.
Yeah.
I mean, the gubernatorial year in 2018 had the Frank Uggan write-in, but that was a gubernatorial to a gubernatorial,
Yeah.
right? So
And even that wasn't,
that wasn't, yeah.
Kind of
didn't
fizzled.
make it that, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think the way the commission's going to sort of hash that out is we're going to say, well, Peter Cruz garnered enough votes to be on. So now whoever this person is out there needs to come in and now fill out the forms, right? Because they still have to qualify. Just because you qualify to be on the ballot doesn't mean you're qualified to run for office. So they still need the residency requirements of 5 years. They need to be over a certain age. They need to be a resident of Guam for so many years. So just because someone writes them in and they make it on the ballot, they still have to qualify as a candidate, right? Because otherwise you defeat the purpose of, you sort of circumvent the process in the law, right? Of making sure how someone is qualified to run for office. So it's whoever Peter Cruz comes and says, I'm the Peter Cruz, and I'm going to qualify, and I step up to, so, because what if Peter Cruz says, no, I don't want it, I don't want this? They can decline it. So in the law, it actually says a candidate can actually decline a nomination. So.
Okay. Any other comments before we move on?
I have an inquiry. So when the staff go through the compiled write-ins and they're identifying these easy, reasonable to identify names, will we still be able to review that, or is it just going to be presented to us with a number?
Well, it'll be presented to you as a number first, but if you wanted to see it, yeah, because you're actually going to have a photo of it.
So we'll see all those photos.
If you want to. But at first, the first process would be the staff to review it and then compile those that are, any reasonable person can say that's the right person. And then any deviations from those, you're going to see every deviation that is not the same as any other vote. But if you do want to see every single one, then you can.
Yeah, because that was my understanding from the last meeting, was that it's the commission members that determine the intent of the voter,
Yeah.
right? And so that I'm more comfortable with us identifying.
Well, I mean, if it's Peter Cruz, it's Peter Cruz, it's Peter Cruz, it's Peter Cruz, right? So all they're doing is taking all those Peter Cruzes and saying, okay, there's 100 of them. And then anything else is P cruise, cruise P. That's where you guys make that
Don't make a
decision.
list, yeah.
But we'll still be able to see all of the write-in spaces.
If you want, yes.
Yeah, I would prefer that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, any other discussion? You want to move on then to,
Chair,
yes.
you have to tell it, the commission has to tell us whether they accept that process,
Yeah.
where legal counsel and staff will review and present to you the names, and then we will present to you the names, and then the commission will meet and figure and decipher.
Yeah. I mean, is there any other discussion on that before we take a vote? I mean, I think that's the prudent way to do it. Sanitize it, and then we just make that determination from there. Okay, so,
So Maria, you want to make that into a motion, or no?
I cannot make a motion.
No, I said
Yes,
you want us
yes,
to make
So
a
to
motion.
be a
Yes,
motion?
yes, yes.
okay.
Thank you.
So, entertain a motion to accept legal counsel's recommendation
I
on
have
how
a
the
question.
write-in ballots will be
Mr.
handled.
Chair?
Yes.
Is there, can the folks, right, our technicians, is there like a percent error with this proposal? Is there some type of percentage? Is this the best? That's what I'm trying to get is, you know, I don't want to invalidate any voters' intent. So I just want to make sure, I mean, if we go with this proposal, is there some type of, what's the percentage of error?
I'm not sure how
I'm
that's
not sure there's
determined.
going to be an error unless you guys, because the staff is not making a decision. All they're doing is compiling things and making it easier for you to review, because every
Write-in.
derivative of a name is going to be separated, and it's going to be up to you guys to determine how that vote is cast, right? Whether it's for a specific person or whether it's invalid or.
Yeah, so every ballot with a write-in is going to be identified. There won't be any ballot with a write-in that's going to be put aside except if it's a scribble. They'll put that
Well,
aside.
yeah, so if you want us to, we can put Mickey Mouse there, but probably Mickey Mouse is going to be an invalid vote, right? So, or even a scribble is going to be, or maybe even initials, because you don't know what those initials stand for, but you're going to make that determination, right?
But,
They're just
yeah.
going to,
I think the concern is we want to make sure that every ballot with a write-in is accounted
yes,
for.
and that's the reason why in the machines, every ballot that has a write-in, a valid write-in, which
a-
means the oval is
yeah.
colored in, whether there's a name or there or not, if the oval's colored in on the write-in, it will shoot it and package it as in the write-in packet.
That's all right.
So it'll be identified as a write-in ballot.
Yeah, because we won't be able to look at the ballot until, is that 30 days after?
If you see how fast these machines are and how fast they take pictures of every single ballot, it's fast.
It's only because without the actual ballot, without looking at it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ricky, your concern about this is good, but it's also alarming me. Is there a secret write-in campaign out there that you've heard about that we should be kind of expecting?
I mean, I've heard write-ins from both parties.
Yeah.
So, you know, considering that candidates from both parties are pushing out, you know, a few write-ins, I want to make sure that, you know, their intent, the voters' intent, everybody's kind of given that consideration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, entertain a motion to accept legal counsel's, the process to count those write-ins. Okay, moved by Commissioner Seville, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Penala. Any further discussions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay, the ayes have it, then we'll adopt that.
You have a question?
I have a question, but not regarding the, well, sort of. I was reading, there was this news article probably several months ago where this could, right, impact the write-ins actually. There was a seat in Congress, I think in California, a congressional seat that opened up, and a local senator in that same election ran for that seat. Can legal counsel look into that? Because my thing is, if it's a federal election and they did that in California, is that, would that be able to happen in Guam?
Okay, Guam law actually has a provision that says anyone who's sitting in office can run for the same office, but they can't run for another office with it if there's like a vacancy, right? So I don't, if I understand the scenario correctly, I don't think someone who's a sitting public official can run for another office if they're sitting in another office.
The same election.
I think you're asking, can somebody who holds a local office, can they also run in a federal office? Can we control that?
Yeah, so right now we have a senator who's running for a federal office, right? So you can do that. Because it's election time for both offices are open up, right?
Does that answer the question? Okay. Okay, next.
So, sir, with everything said, if we look at the rest of the agenda items, should we just go on to the test election now?
Yeah, and we can just then put everything to.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Move to the test selection. So the test selection, we will test the machines, and we have 2 new ones, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, legal counsel will go over the process of how the ballots will be counted.
So
and
we
tabulated.
are going to run and test all 4 machines with the same test deck. Once each of the test decks are run on each machines, the reports are going to be and the results will be produced. We would ask that we have members, one from the Democrat Party, one from the Republican Party, and our esteemed independent, would go and compare each of the reports for each of the 4 machines to ensure the counts are exactly the same, to ensure the integrity of the machines. So before we begin, they're going to zero out the machines and have a zero out report, which all of you will review and sign, saying that the machines have been zeroed out. They will start running the test decks. Once the test decks are complete and every test deck has gone through each of the 4 machines, the results will be produced, and you guys will review the results and compare the results to ensure that the results are the same for each of the machines. You will sign off on that, and then we will zero out, and then that concludes our test election to ensure that the machines are calibrated and the results are the same using the same test deck. Any questions? Now, I can tell you, you're going to be shocked at how fast, right, Mike? I think we counted 1,000 ballots in 5 minutes yesterday when we ran it. So this is going to be a new problem because, you know, you have our resolution table, which is usually right here. If we get a lot of resolutions that you guys have to do, it's going to slow down the tabulation. Because by the time you take to pull the damaged ballot to replicate it, and you sit down and replicate it and review it, that machine is probably done counting all the ballots and just waiting for you to finish your replication. And if there's multiple replications for that one precinct, we cannot close. So that machine's going to sit idle. And so that's why we have the other 2 machines to continue so we don't have a backlog, right? Because these 2 machines, I mean, they're really, really fast. And so you'll see that at how fast it can count compared to how fast it counts using the other machines. So with on election night, I'm going to ask that you you guys stay at the resolution table, because you're going to need one Republican, one Democrat, and then you're also going to need an independent, and you're also going to have legal counsel there. So you're going to have a legal counsel at the resolution table, a legal counsel at the tabulators, and I will be at the result station to ensure that there's everything follows through, and there's a Republican, a Democrat, and for any resolution that needs to be answered on that night. So you'll see, because I'm sure the machine is going to throw out some ballots that the machine will throw out. That's what we call, that's when we'll have to pull that and call you to the resolution table to resolve it. Okay? Any questions?
Mr. Legal Counsel, can you introduce the two
Yes,
legal
I'm sorry.
counsels to our new?
So our legal team here, we have Nick Ennis, who's an associate at our firm. And then we have Jerry Diaz, who is of counsel of the firm. And so one of them will be at the resolution table. They have to flip a coin, and they'll tell us which. And then one will be at the tabulator machines as well. Okay. And then you can ask them any questions wherever you are. Okay, Mike. Ready? You're going to run the zero report, so you want to come over there and.
that is the primary? General election. General. The turnout here is. Hits that, we're gonna split it. So we're gonna go on.
done? Why aren't we running?
The rest of the
Agenda items.
agenda was because we put it in because of made sure that we met the publication notice.
Yeah.
The public notice. So we've dealt with all of them,
Okay.
okay? In
And,
the previous meeting.
Right, and the test selection has been
Yeah.
conducted and completed. Okay. So I entertain that a motion to adjourn this meeting until 3 o'clock, August 3rd, Saturday. And everybody should be on at least standby in case we need to meet at 3 o'clock on August 3rd for any election problems.
Not,
If not, then we'll convene at 9 o'clock in the evening of August 3rd here
Here,
at
yeah.
Election Return Center.
3 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
3 o'clock at the office, 9 o'clock here.
Here.
If we have to meet in the office.
Yeah.
So call us if we have.
Or
Yes.
call or text us.
Yes, I'll do both.
Okay.
If not, then 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 9 p.m. here at Election Center.
Mr. Chairman, motion is so moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Pinales, second by Commissioner Meno. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. The meeting of August 1st is thereby adjourned.